history gives us lessons that we have done this. History shows what African people can do when they unite. And that when they do unite, they are an unstoppable force. I mean, we can go back to, say, the Haitian Revolution, yeah? Where, you know, Africans on the island of Haiti rose up against the enslavers. And it's important to understand that they fought the French, they fought the British, and they fought the Spanish, yeah? Over a period of years, I think over a period of 10 years, they've defeated the French Navy, this Navy, that Navy, just through unity and strategy, and a point that you've hit on, strong leadership. And I think that's a major problem in Africa, is that we don't, in the government circles, we don't have the leadership, and in the Caribbean, that we don't have the leadership that the people desire. The people want a way out. So, you know, it's education. The more we know about ourselves, the more we understand what we are capable of. So when somebody says, well, boy, I think many of us, I don't say many, but some of us have this attitude of like, well, Charlie, European, they're just too powerful. They run everything. You'll never be able to turn it over. You'll never turn it over. My brother, my sister, yes. Because if we hadn't done that, me and you could not be having this conversation right now. We would still be on a plantation somewhere. Why are we not on the plantation system? Because we fought back, because we destroyed the system of enslavement. We destroyed the system of colonialism, which during their times was seen as eternal. Yeah, those systems were put in place and they're going to last for eternity. Always the European ruling and stuff like that. We have shown by our actions that this is not the case. And we have shown by our actions what we can do when we come together. And the European knows this, which is why they are so desperate to keep us out of certain areas. I use the analogy of sports. Yeah. Growing up, you know, I was into football and things. My being Jamaican, cricket. My dad was a big cricket fan. But something like golf was a white man's game. I've never played golf. That's what rich white folk do. Tiger Woods came in, changed the game, changed the way it was played, and that was one person. Tennis, the Williams sisters came in, changed the game. Changed it up. Formula One, Lewis Hamilton changed the game. They don't just win, they change the nature of the sport. They change the nature of the game. Now you take that analogy and you put it in business, you put it in other areas of life. That's what we have the potential to do. They know that, which is why they can't let us in.
That's important. With the game. Anyway, we're not going to go deeper there on just now. Now, talking of education, tell me something about the Evolving Creative Project. Tell me about that.
Okay, Evolving Creatives, that's my website, and it's something I built up over years. And basically, my motto is evolving creatively through art and education. So, I'm a person, as I learn, I want to share. I want to share what I've learned. So what I try to do is to create resources that I can hand over to other people to say, right, here is like in the image behind you. You know, a lot of us don't actually realize that we have a rich literary heritage. We have a rich heritage of books, of literature, going back to ancient times. And that literature is still relevant today. It's still relevant. Ancient Egypt, which I call it correctly, Kemet.
Kemet, yeah.
A lot of the literature from that, the philosophy, the ideas are still in today. Are still there. They're just not called by that name. So it's understanding and reconnecting, because again, when we came out of enslavement, reading and writing was banned for us. Yeah, it was banned. I think that there were certain books, like certain versions of the Bible, that we were allowed to read, but everything else, you know, we were denied the right. So I know that scholars calculated that in America, the abolition of enslavement, I think the black population was 96% illiterate, which meant 9.5 out of every 10 can't read. And similar figures for the Caribbean, 9.5 out of 10 can't read, because we've been denied the right to read and write over generations. And because of that state, and because of the denial of our own historical knowledge, what we forget is that we were the original writers. We have written the greatest body of literature in history. But, you know, if you think of yourself as, well, I'm illiterate and my history is illiterate, you won't even look for it. You understand? You won't even look for it. So one of the reactions I get is when I've shown people the book, and I say the title is The African Literary Heritage, they're like, what's that? What heritage? What's that? But yet everybody in this country knows William Shakespeare. You know, everybody knows William Shakespeare. We know some of the romantic poets, Keats, Wordsworth, all of that, the European novelists and stuff. We have our own rich history in that area. And so I like the idea of bringing to light subjects and things that we Black people are unfamiliar with, but yet is an important part of our history and an important part of our future.
Thank you so much for that, dear Danny. You see, that is where I think the miracle really lies, no? In that when you don't have the knowledge of yourself, absolutely, you are even at a risk to yourself and to the society, because you don't know. It's like having a nuclear bomb. You are both at a risk to yourself and to the society if you don't know what you are doing. So,
yeah, and you have no direction.
Exactly. Because you don't know where you're going.
You don't know where you're going, because you don't, you know, it's like, you don't know where you're going because you don't know where you're coming from. You understand? You have no compass, you know? So, you know, you blow with the wind. You're like a leaf in the wind. And whichever direction the wind blows, that's where you go. But what we need to be is like the tree, and we decide what direction we're moving in.
I believe, I have the faith so much that a group of Africans are coming. And these Africans are going to be very tall when they stand. And they are going to be able to define who they really are without I'm not saying respect, but without taking order from any person.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at a very simple analogy. We go back to the war of Ukraine again. It's not because Russia is the big example in the world to show, but there is something important there that we need to pay attention to. You see, when the war in Iraq was going on, or maybe in Libya, maybe the European power and their Western ally, the United States and Canada, want to declare a no-fly zone in those areas. If they find that it is their interest, they just call the United Nations Assembly, and they need to sit one time, and they call a code, for example, a code 1976, 1973, in the case of Libya, no-fly zone, and that is the end of it. But why are they not able to do the same in Ukraine? Because of Russia. Because if you do that, meaning you are going to be shooting the Russian flight.
Absolutely.
Now, is the United States ready to do? It's not that they cannot do that, but there is a collateral damage to that. What I'm trying to say is that if you want to enter into a negotiation with another party, you must have something to control the conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You will be able to do that when you organize yourself, in case of Africa. So the United States, small country like UK, can control the whole of Africa, because Africa are not organized. If Africa are organized, the whole of Europe will be afraid to say this is what they want from Africa. Because they need to be told the term of the agreement.
Yes.
But right now, we only need to sign. Is that what you want? Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We sign. Sir. That is what our leaders are doing. That is why we African people are both slave, their leaders are equally slave. So if we want to free ourselves, we must be ready to pay the sacrifice, and then we can control the narration.
The first revolution needs to happen in Africa. You understand? Forget about Europe. We need to change. We need to clean our own house first and foremost. Because like I say, there's a level of corruption within the leadership that is holding other Africans back. And I saw something.
But that corruption is just part of the system.
It is. It is. And how do you change the system? If you're not in a position to negotiate the change, then you have to actualize the change. You have to, you know, whether that's through, you know what, we're not participating in this anymore. We're going to build our own stuff and run our own thing, or tearing it down. It's interesting because Africa, in terms of what they call it, like growth, population growth, yeah, the fastest area of population growth. It has the largest number of young people, and you know, when I say young people, I'm not talking teenagers. I'm talking about people in their 30s and 40s, and they should be entering positions of leadership now. They should be entering positions of leadership. There was an African conference, and I know that there was some like ex-prime minister, ex-ministers there, and what have you. And there was a businessman. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, but he was invited to speak, and he made a talk, and he said, look at the West, yeah. Obama became president. He wasn't 50 yet. John F. Kennedy became president at the age of like 43 or what have you. In this country, Tony Blair, young man president. David Cameron, young man president. Yeah, and that youth in leadership keeps the energy going, because they bring energy to their game, whether that energy is put to good use or bad use. They bring that youthful energy to their leadership, and you know, people respond to it, and it moves the whole thing forward. Sorry, we got leaders in Africa who should be, all right, it's time to put you in the care home now, because you're in your 80s, you're dribbling. You're not fit to run the country, man. I'm sorry, but you're not. So there's a whole level of fantastic potential leadership in Africa on all levels. And unfortunately, a lot of these young minds are not getting through to that position where they can actually create some serious fundamental change.